Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Saturday's edition of the dceu Daily. What a fabulous time to be a fan of DC Comics, DC TV, and DC movies. In DC TV, we have got Crisis on Infinite Earths coming. I've got some pictures to show you from a picture, which is amazing of that. I've got some pictures, some on-set pics of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I've got a lot to say about that and what my fellow Snyder stands are trying to do to that film now. So it's going to be a very, very controversial episode. But yes, you have read the title of this video right. Zack Snyder is back at the dceu. It is now official as far as I'm concerned. No one's going to shout it from the rooftops for obvious reasons. Zack Snyder, according to IMDb, is a producer on The Suicide Squad. Now, we know he's also a producer on Wonder Woman 1984, but that was pre-W. What does pre-W mean? Pre-Walter Hamada. That film was green-lit before Walter Hamada came in. But it was Walter Hamada who greenlit The Suicide Squad. Now, we all know, or most of us do, that Zack Snyder and James Gunn have worked together before, which is amazing. So, let me give you a scenario. Worked together before. I wonder who went and got James Gunn. Now, we originally thought it was Walter Hamada as the guy running DC films right now. But it looks like it's Zack Snyder. And if you add 1 and 1, it makes 2. Zack Snyder is back at the dceu, which means the potential is limitless, which means that's great for Release the Snyder Cut, because it means it's coming. A lot of great things are coming. It's been so hard being a DCEU fan over the years. Not because of the content, well, apart from Justice League, because of the way we've been treated. Look at the way they're treating Joker movie, a fabulous movie that 9 out of 10 consumers love, but it's not good enough for the bloggers. And we spoke yesterday about how Warner Brothers are now going to ignore the bloggers. We saw what they did to Access Media during the marketing and during the premiere in America for the Joker movie. So basically, look, this is amazing. This is amazing. Not only have they sat the bloggers down and they're totally blatantly not going to make the movies that they want, we have got Zack back at the dceu. Hang on a minute, Mike, you're saying, where's your evidence? I've just given you my evidence. He is a producer on The Suicide Squad. This is amazing. He's the one, obviously, who recruited James Gunn because they've worked together before. J.J. Abrams, a good friend of Zack Snyder's, is pretty much running Warner Brothers now. Let's cut the crap, right? Zack is back, but this doesn't mean that Zack's going to run the whole of DC Films. He will be given his own film division. He will be given a little corner to work on. I'm absolutely sure of that now. And I think this is really, really exciting. And as I say, the most pivotal thing is seeing that he's producing The Suicide Squad. That points to me that Release the Snyder Cut is happening. We are finally going to see this movie. We don't know what it is, what it's like, if it's better than the Justice Cut. It's got to be better than the Justice Cut. Please don't suck. After all these battles, we don't want it to suck, do we? And I don't think it will. I'm only kidding you, but it's amazing. Anyway, right, we got some pictures, on-set pics of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Try yet, very amateur on here. I don't have the fancy edits and everything, but anyway, let's have a look at this. So that's one, right? Looks pretty cool. Oh, I've gone and switched my phone off. Pretty crap, eh? Right, then we got this, and we see Jay Courtney with someone. Now, I'm not sure who Jay Courtney's with, but to me, he looks pretty cool, both Jay and the other guy. Is it David Benares? Is it David Benares, or however you say his name? Is that the guy who played Angel? I'm not sure. Looks pretty awesome, though, right? And this, according to Chris Wong Svensson, actually, retweeted something. This is meant to be the character Mongol. Now, according to comic book fans, because I've never seen her in the comics before, she is pretty bang on. So this is looking pretty great, right? Not for my fellow Snyder stands, no. They say it looks like cosplay. They say it looks a load of rubbish. And what's amazing in the gift that keeps on giving when people try and throw their agenda at something because they love Zack, so they try and rubbish future DCEU, and then we find out that Zack is actually producing this movie. Wow! Keep your agenda at home because you're going to be sat back down. This is absolutely amazing. And this is just fabulous for me. We've got Zack Snyder back at the DCEU. He's producing the Suicide Squad movie, and we've got these wonderful pictures, and I think it's great. But I promised you something else, didn't I? So let's take a look on my Instagram. Don't forget, if you want to follow my Instagram, it's MadMick555. I'm pretty insane on there. You may not like what you see, but that's up to you. And you can follow me on Twitter, of course, at MoviesTVMad as well. So, this is awesome. This is what you're going to see on the Arrowverse crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, my friends. Awesome, right? I'll tell you what it says. Wayne Tech CEO Bruce Wayne to marry socialite Selena Kyle. Now, that has to be set after both Batman films because that's the missing piece as well, isn't it? Well, we don't know if he ever confronted Selena again. Well, we do now. So that's amazing. They get married. Because it's actually, I was watching some of the behind-the-scenes stuff of Burton's first Batman movie and Batman Returns. And to me, and maybe it's an unpopular opinion, I thought what he did and what Keaton did was amazing. Things were going well. And because Warner Brothers wanted to sell toys to kids and they didn't like the graphic, gory nature of what Burton did, they binned Burton. He was still a producer on the third movie, Batman Forever. But at the end of the day, Warner Brothers, again, effed up. You know, Tim should have made the other two movies. And if Tim did the other two movies, Tim probably would be doing the movies even now. It may be a little bit of a shame because we wouldn't have seen Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, which I absolutely adore. Who doesn't? But I still think he should have at least got a third movie. He did nothing wrong. Some people don't like Batman Returns. That's one of my favourite Batman movies. And, you know, you had an awesome version of the Penguin. And you had Max Schreck, whoever he is in the comics. I don't even know if he is in the comics. But, you know, that was a great movie. For me, it was a great movie. The first Batman and the second Batman. It's interesting, actually, watching the behind the scenes. I didn't realise how much Nicholson was so enthused by the whole project. He loved it. As soon as he signed up, he goes, look, Tim Burton was bricking it. It was going to fail. He was a young director. And Jack Nicholson said to him, don't worry. This is going to be big. He went to the Oscars, Jack Nicholson, and he told a friend of his in the industry who he knows talks too much that this film is so big and is going to do so well. And this person spread it. Nicholson, Nicholson is an amazing Joker. I love Nicholson's Joker. I love Ledger's Joker. And, of course, I love Joaquin's Joker. Those three Jokers are top tier. I still like Leto's Joker, but I don't think it's in the levels of those three gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned. And that's not Jared's fault, of course. So I want your comments down below. What do you think about the revelation from IMDb that Zack Snyder is actually producing, one of the producers of Suicide Squad? Do you feel like I do, that he's back at the DCEU now, that he could get some kind of corner of this DC multiverse now? Who knows? Will he finally get to do a Man of Steel sequel? I think there's an interesting situation here where at least he could co-write a Man of Steel sequel with J.J. Abrams, or maybe he could write it. Maybe they could direct it together. Look, anything is possible here. But as far as I'm concerned, Walter Hamada greenlit the Suicide Squad. And if he didn't want Zack back, he wouldn't be a producer on this movie. This is very interesting news now. And as far as I'm concerned, Zack, my friends, is back. And I forgot to tell you before I leave, Zack Snyder, of course, thanked fans on Vero last week for what they've done for Release the Snyder Cut. But this morning, when I woke up, he posted on Twitter saying, I have the best fans. Quote tweeting an article for Release the Snyder Cut and everything that they've raised for kind of suicide prevention. So really, Zack is being really vocal now, which means I think this kind of proves that the Snyder Cut's happening, that he's back at the DCEU. Listen, I couldn't be more happier, but it's not because of me. It's because of you. It's because of everyone who posted letters, sent money. You have done so much. All I've done is hashtag and go on about it on YouTube. It's been my pleasure. I love Zack's films from the DCEU. I look forward to seeing what he will do next within the DCEU because, like it or lump it, he's back. Now, he's not going to be back in a prominent position, I'm sure. At first, he will produce, but as I say, I'm sure he will get something within DC Films. DC Films is now expanding, not just to be the DCEU. What we've seen with Joker, the Batman movie universe as well. As I say, a really, really exciting time to be a DC fan.